Hi, hello. My name is Sam, my pronouns are they, them, and welcome to our walk. So, I've got my dog. We are out here doing an old lady walk. If you didn't know, my dog is 14 and she's got a lot of problems, but we do our best. But right now, it's about 1:30 p.m. and it is the start of my 24-hour romance readathon. So I will be reading for the next 24 hours. I will be sleeping at some point because I'm old and that is necessary. But yeah, so on the TBR right now is finishing up How to Marry a Princess by Alyssa Cole. That is my current audiobook. I also want to finish How to Marry a Lich by Lizzie Strong. That is an ebook that I am reading. And from there, I'm not really sure. I might pick up Outdrawn by Deanna Gray, but we will see where the world takes us after the first two books. So I am going to continue my walk with my dog and continue listening to How to Marry a Princess by Alyssa Cole. So right now I have 50 more pages on How to Find a Princess by Alyssa Cole. Yeah. And I have like mixed feelings about this book. I was not enjoying it that much at first. Like, it kind of felt mediocre at first, and now I'm really coming to love it. It's definitely like a hardcore slow burn, which I was not really expecting. So it's about Makeda and Basnaria. Makeda Hicks is like the long lost heir to a royal monarchy for like a fairly small island, and Basnaria is like the person who's sent to go and find the long lost heir by this world monarchy organization, but the world monarchy organization is not really interested in Makeda being like the royal heir. This monarchy spot is really just like a figurehead. It's like a publicity stunt, whatever. But Basnaria has like more of a stake in this because it like clears her family name, because her grandmother was the royal guard to the queen who disappeared, and everyone was like, oh my god, this royal guard killed the queen, and like she didn't. She just kind of left, and we don't have much of a backstory to that. And I think that all has to do with like this is the second book in the series, but I don't feel like I need all of those context clues to get into this romance. So this is a fake marriage romance, and I wasn't really having a good time with it in the beginning. I thought it was fine, but it's super slow burn. But now that we're like really getting into it and personalities are coming out, I am really enjoying it. I think it's pretty fucking fantastic. And there was this one scene where Basnaria like declared her love basically as she was walking onto an elevator, and then the elevator doors did not close, and she had this whole monologue about how inconvenient it was for those elevator doors not to close, and I was just cackling. It was so funny. I believe that Basnaria is supposed to be autistic, but there's not like stated confirmation. So that's a portion of it that I'm really enjoying. And I think the only portions of it that I didn't enjoy were really some of the slow burn aspects, because I enjoy Basnaria and Makeda as individual characters so much, but like their coupling sometimes was just a little irritating at first, but now that they've kind of gotten into the swing of things, like it's way more interesting, it's way more fun, it's a better dynamic, and I'm loving this. So the fact that I've only got an hour left, I'll probably finish that at some point tonight. But I am also 27% into How to Marry a Lich by Lizzie Strong, and I am obsessed with this. I am absolutely obsessed with this. So this is about Dahlia, who has been going through this garden for the past like 5 years after her mom's death, and she's just been struggling a lot because her stepfather is like trying to marry her off to get her inheritance, and one of the people that he was trying to marry her off to basically tried to kill her in this garden. And the Lich who owned the garden, who had just been watching her for the past 5 years, was like, oh hell no. So he ended up saving her, and he has brought her into his household, and they are having such a cute relationship, such a cute romance, while also like horrible things are happening around them. I love the dynamic between the two of them. I love the dynamic of them individually. I love the supporting characters that work in his household. They give the author, Lizzie Strong, gives them really good like individual characteristics and like fun, compassionate kind of energy. So I'm enjoying this so much. I'm only 27% of the way through, so I've got quite a ways to go. So I'm gonna continue. Okay, hi, hello. So it is about midnight right now, and I'm currently 50% of the way through How to Marry a Lich by Lizzie Strong. Hey, babe. Come here. We got a baby. I'm loving every second of it. I think that it is fantastic. I love their dynamic. I love where the storyline is going right now. It is just so fun. It is very, very spicy. It is just fantastic. It is everything that I wanted. And the fact that I am currently 50% of the way done just means that I am on track to finish tomorrow. So it's looking like this 24-hour readathon, I will be able to complete my goals that I set, because I wanted to finish How to Find a Princess by Alyssa Cole and How to Marry a Lich by Lizzie Strong. And it looks like I will be able to complete those two goals as long as nothing goes horribly wrong tomorrow. But it does not look like I will get to a third book, which is sad. But it's okay, because, you know, things happen. And you know what? How to Marry a Lich by Lizzie Strong is a lot longer than I thought it was actually going to be, but it's totally worth it. I'm having a great time. It just means that I will have to do a separate reading vlog for Outdrawn by Deanna Gray, because I am incredibly excited to get into her as an author, so I will probably end up giving her an entire video to herself, which is fine. It's just everything that I could have ever wanted. So with that, it is about midnight, so I am going to go to sleep for a couple hours. So I will talk to y'all in the morning. Good job. Okay, you can hear my car right now. I'm a little sorry. I'm not that sorry. This is quickly turning into a what the fuck Lizzie Strong reading vlog, because what the fuck Lizzie Strong? I am 90% of the way through How to Marry a Lich, and how dare you do that to Sebastian? How dare you do that to him? I'm stupid in love with this book. I am so ridiculously, completely in love with this book right now, but I am so upset with you for doing that to Sebastian. And now I have 10% left to get through, and things better work out, or else I'm gonna riot. I'm obsessed with this book. I'm obsessed with How to Marry a Lich. I need it for forever. It's so good. It is time to wrap up the 24-hour readathon. I'm a little bit behind schedule, but that's okay, because I did some amazing reading. So I know that this video I said was turning into a Lizzie Strong what the fuck moment, and it still is. But we are going to start with How to Find a Princess by Alyssa Cole, because I need time and energy to talk about Lizzie Strong's book, where this one feels a little bit calmer. So How to Find a Princess by Alyssa Cole, I listened to the audiobook and I gave it 3.5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it in the way of, I think the final third of the book was spectacular. I think it was awesome. I loved it. I had a great time with it. The first 2/3 of the book, I feel like I struggled with a little bit. So this is all about Makeda Hicks and Besnaria. Besnaria is someone who is employed by the World Monarchy Association or whatever, and she is set out to find like the long lost heir to the kingdom. And Makeda Hicks is just this poor girl who lets people walk all over her and lets people like abuse her and torment her basically. And she's just like, it's fine, I'm nice, I do things for people, I'm helpful. So therefore all of the abuse is pretty much fine, and she just lets it happen. Well, Besnaria comes in and she's like, hey yo, you're a princess. And Makeda is like, I know that's what everyone thinks, but I'm not dealing with that bullshit anymore. My mom already ruined my life once over that. But Besnaria convinces her to go on this adventure with her to try and get some money out of this whole scenario that she needs to pay off a debt from an ex. And they engage in a fake marriage on a boat to get back to the island that they need to go to. And it goes from there. I would like to say that I always enjoyed the characters individually. Them together, I really struggled with for about 2/3 of the book. And I understand that it took like them taking down some of their own personal walls and dealing with some of their own personal issues for them to come together well, but I just struggled with them for the first 2/3, like to the point where there were certain times that I just didn't even want to pick up the book. And it had nothing to do with Alyssa Cole's like actual writing, because I really enjoy her writing and I enjoy her storytelling. And I enjoy the pattern that the end portion of her books are always like top tier 10 out of 10, but it's a 3.5 stars because the ending really made up for the issues that I had with it in the beginning. But there were definitely like issues where I debated DNFing this, which I'm so glad I didn't, because I'm not going to spoil the ending at all. I don't want to, because I think that the ending was fantastic. And I remember looking down at my phone and being like, there has to be way more left of this book than I thought. And there were only 19 minutes left in the audiobook, and I was like, what? And it was such a good ending. The last third really was just top tier, their relationship coming together, like their dynamic, their communication style, all of it was just top tier. And the scenario when they actually got onto the island, it happened so fast, but it was so interesting. And it really just showed like where their communications skills had skyrocketed, because they were like on par, and there was a good progression to get to the point of those communication skills. It didn't come from like out of nowhere. I really enjoyed this book. I don't think I'm going to continue on with the Runaway Royals series, and I think one of the other things that kind of didn't do well for me with the series is I feel like I don't really like royals stories like that anymore. I don't think I ever really enjoyed contemporary romance involving royals. So might have been my bad a little bit. But, you know, I still love Alyssa Cole. I think that she's fantastic. I still am definitely going to pick up more of her books. I would be interested to pick up any of her other romance books that maybe didn't involve royals. I don't know. I haven't even looked into it yet. Her horror, any more horror she puts out, I'm going to pick up immediately. So, super happy with this outcome still. Let's move on to the segment of What the Fuck, Lizzie Strong? How to Marry a Lich. 5 stars. 5 stars. Loved it. Obsessed with it. It was everything. Their relationship. The ending. Oh my god. I want to spoil the ending so bad right now. You have no idea. So we're going to get to an end point, I think, towards the end of this, where I'm going to say, spoiler! And I'm going to put spoiler big across the screen so we can kind of talk about it a little bit. But for now, I'm not going to spoil. So we've got Dahlia, who is this woman who, her mother dies, and she spends like the next 5 years or so going through this garden as like a safe zone for her. And she gets chased into that garden at some point 5 years later by a man who is trying to force himself upon her because her stepfather was like, no, go marry my stepdaughter. And this is all on the basis of inheritance. That is what we are meant to believe for the vast majority of the book, honestly, that this is all about inheritance and legacy. And the Lich, who is the owner of that garden for the past 5 years, has been looking on to Dahlia and just being like, oh, hard eyes, dreamy, I'm in love, but she'll never notice me, she'll never want me, I'm so ugly. He wears like this big plague doctor mask, but he's a little crazy, but he's so sweet. Such a great character. He is a touch her and you die kind of main character, and he kills the assaulter. And he takes her in as, like, this is a safe place for you. And they become besties. They become so close. They're like besties for real, for real. I don't know where that word just came out from. This is just my obsession. And they are so cute, and she's like slowly building up his confidence. That was such a good plot point within the story, of the way that she slowly built up his confidence while respecting his boundaries. She'd never once pushed him outside of his boundaries, and even when he tried to push himself outside of his boundaries, she said, no, you're pushing too hard, you don't need to. When you're ready to do this, you will do this. You don't need to overstep your own boundaries. So they become super close friends. She gets really close to everyone in the house. He has a bunch of workers. He has Kevin, who is a zombie. He has Agatha, who is a banshee. He has Haversham. I forget exactly what he was. He was a protector. He had like Frankenstein monster type creature. I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. Oh, and then he had Smith, who was a Slenderman. He was his lawyer. So he had a household full of people. So she became besties with the Lich. She became besties with all of the employees. They slowly, like, over the span of like 2 weeks, become absolute besties. And she's like, okay. Listen, consider marriage of convenience. And we're off running. I loved it. I loved every single second of it. It was so good. It was so interesting. The marriage of convenience trope. So it's friends to marriage of convenience to utterly in love. It was so good. I enjoyed it so much because there was a very distinct plotline throughout. Like, we were following a plotline throughout, but we really like peeled off into little like chaotic, gothic, fun slice of life scenarios, which I thought were fantastic, which is why the book is so long. The book is like 550 pages or something like that. So it's really long for a romance, but I greatly enjoyed all of the little like slice of life little moments that we got to witness. And from here, we're gonna get into some spoilery type scenarios. So if you would not like to hear spoilers and you are interested in reading this, absolutely go and get it from Lizzie Strong. It's so good. 5 stars. Go and get it if you like chaotic monster romance. We're gonna get into spoilers now, though. This was filthy as hell. This was so filthy. The smut was... oh, it was everything. The smut was so good. I don't really want to like go into super hard detail on the smut because like it was filthy. It was absolutely filthy. And it's not appropriate for YouTube at all. But the underlining plotline is that Dahlia is from a family line where her ancestor like basically sold her soul to an ancient one called like the Hungry One to save herself from getting murdered by the king. She ends up getting all of the knowledge she could ever need in the world. And it really wasn't like communicated that well. Like, everyone thought that she just gained like hardcore blacksmith skills to get her out of the scenario, but that's not true. She got gifted like all of the knowledge she could ever need, really. And this loophole is really what saved Dahlia in the end, because Dahlia's mother died because she went insane from the Hungry One, because it had been generations and generations and generations, and he was like, I want my payment. I want the legacy. I want to eat you. So Dahlia's mother went crazy, and as long as there was a new heir, he couldn't eat the previous woman. So she just went fucking insane, and she died. But she raised Dahlia to be, like, basically unmarriable because she was stubborn, and she didn't let people fuck with her, and she was just, like, a badass bitch. and I loved her for that. And it was very emotional for her to have to realize that her mom, like, raised her to be unmarriable. She was not unmarriable. She was amazing. From there, it gets into, like, some giant-ass battles. It's such an intricate and complex scenario. There's so much betrayal. There's so much hurt. And it was just fantastic. The way that they took it from, here's the family legacy. Here's what your mom did to try and save you from the family legacy. Here's what you will do to save yourself from the family legacy. All while fighting your stepfather, your ex-best friend who betrayed you, and an eldritch horror god named the Hungry One from the Nightmare Realm. So seeing that progression was so interesting because you think it's just a romance. You think it's just like a smutty, filthy monster romance, and it's really not. It has so much to do with, like, her value upon herself and the way that she functions in the world and the way that people function around her and the sense of family that she feels like she has been missing for so long. So to see her at the end really not only fight for herself, because she's obviously been fighting for herself for her entire life because that is how her mother raised her, but to see her fight for her family, the family that she has chosen, was just incredible. I loved every second of it. And at the end, she defeats the Hungry One through the loophole of her curse. And she realizes, like, I can't kill him with the blade. I need the knowledge of how to kill him. And she ends up doing so and becoming the Hungry One herself. But she's not, like, nightmare-ish or anything because she's still tied to her vessel, which is her elf body. And then they live happily ever after. Oh my god. I loved it. I loved every second of it. It was so interesting. It was so dynamic. It was a fantastic romance. It was a fantastic found family. It talked so much about self-confidence and boundaries and being gentle with yourself and loving yourself and taking care of yourself. And I just loved every second of it. It was so worth it in every capacity. I have the ebook version because she was kind enough to send it to me, and honestly I'm sitting here and I'm like, I should just go and buy a physical copy because I am so obsessed with this book. I feel like I need to have it on my shelf, and now I need to go and read the backlogs of her books because this is very clearly like book number 2 or 3 in like a series, but it's like one of those nice standalones where it's like, yeah, this is part of a series, but you can read each one individually and not be confused. So I loved that about it too, because I went and I looked at the other books and I was not a big fan of their covers because it looks like they were published before like the illustrated romance cover like really became like a top tier thing. And if you know me, I don't like covers with like real people on them. I really don't like it. I like illustrated romance editions. You know, they draw me in. And I feel like I'm turned off the second like I see a real person on a cover. So that's a me problem. But this one was so good that I feel like I need to buy the copy, the physical copy, and then I feel like I need to read the other ones in the series. It was so good. I loved it so much. I'm so happy that I took the time to read all 548 pages of this book. It's totally worth it if you are looking for a good gothic romance with eldritch horror and monster smut. This is the one for you. 5 stars, top tier. Loved it. And that is where we are at for our 24-hour romance readathon. I am so happy with how this turned out. It was so much fun. I had such a great time with it, and I feel kind of rejuvenated, which is great because if you did not know, I am heading into Outdrawn by Deanna Gray, and I am also planning on picking up Can't Resist Her by Kiara Alexander, I believe is her name. That might be incorrect, but I cannot see the book from the shelf right now. And I will be doing New to Me Romance Authors BIPOC edition for my next video. So keep an eye out for that one. But I hope that everyone is having a fantastic day. If you are looking to find Lizzie Strong, find her on TikTok I will link her down below because I feel like everyone needs to appreciate her. She is just a fantastic writer. And I hope that everyone's having the most fantastic time. And I will talk to y'all later.